All right, and welcome to case study number 2 of this series, so brilliantly titled Kirk's 40 Case Study Closings. I'm your host, Ryan Kirk, and these case studies range from vacant lots to custom luxury homes and total $2,042,081.71 in profits and equity without having to personally go see the property on some, and with no cash, no credit of my own. It varies, and I'll explain. And I do it all with Flip Logic and 1-888 cash offer. Now let's get into number 2 of the 40 case studies. 24 Meadow Brook in Dover, Massachusetts, 15 minutes outside of Boston. I love this deal because this is my first wholesale deal that was out of state. So my first out of state wholesale deal, which truly is going to demonstrate here how versatile wholesaling is from a geographical standpoint, from distance. I live in Santa Monica, California. I was living in Huntington Beach, California at the time, and this property is literally, on the East Coast. I'm on the West Coast, so I had never been to Massachusetts before, and I did this deal, like most of these deals, all from my desktop. But I especially had to do this one for my desktop because I wasn't going to go, fly out there. So let's talk about it. From the exterior, you can see it's in pretty decent shape. But when you looked at the interior photos, it needed a major rehab. I mean, it needed everything. I'm, pretty sure it was going to be a full gut. It was just the place was outdated. And I think it had maybe it had other issues, maybe some water damage issues, things of that sort. Yeah, actually, I know that there was some leaking going on in there. So this is a property that was in a notice of default, notice of trustee sale situation, and we originated it through a direct mail campaign. And if you ask me why we targeted this area, I couldn't tell you. It's a higher ARV area, and he was an owner-occupant, which makes it more difficult because there's more emotion attached to it, and then somebody having to relocate from where they're living. It's much easier if the seller, if this is a rental or a second home. But still, despite it being an occupied primary residence, owner-occupied, if the circumstance is there where, again, they had an impending foreclosure, so they were motivated, and if the physical circumstances there, which is it's a major rehab, well, then now you have the makings of a deal, right? So the ARV on this came out to about $700,000 after you pulled the comps, and since the property was almost 3,000 miles away, how do you estimate repairs on that from your desktop wherever you're at, whether you're in California, or maybe you're on vacation somewhere or on the road or what have you, in a Starbucks? The way that you estimate repairs is, again, using a price per square foot condition multiplier. And this isn't an exact scope of work or estimated bid. That's going to get done by the investor who walks through with his general contractor. It's our job, it's your job, just to assess it and come up with a ballpark price per square foot condition multiplier, right? Because if you can do that, now you can run your offer, the formulas, which our app does, Flip Logic does. So you can run that, so you can at least put in an offer, get it under contract, and then that inspection period can begin, and then any adjustments that need to be made, if necessary, can be made from there. So on the higher end scale, the upper end scale, the where it needs everything, especially on a higher ARV like this, but under $1 million, you're going to be probably closer to $35 to $40 a square foot. Speaking in ballpark. So that's the price per square foot for our repair estimate that we use, $175,000. The purchase price that we came up with was $215,000, and you're probably seeing this is so low. How are we able to get it this low? you know, because this was like my second deal, maybe it probably wasn't my second deal, it was just my first out-of-state wholesale deal, but still it was very, when I was just getting into wholesaling, so I was still rather new, and I was using formulas that were very low, so that's why we got this so low. Otherwise, we may not have gotten it at this price. The which you may be thinking, well, isn't that a good thing? Yes and no. Yes, because we got such a good price on this, but no, because you don't convert as much. You get a big deal here or there, but you miss out on a lot of base hits, 2 base hits, 3 base hits, because doubles and triples in baseball, because you're always going for the big score. And those do come, of course, but it's nice having those, singles, doubles, triples, and you get that by making more competitive offers. And so our app has those algorithms built into it now. The purchase price on this came out to $215. If you actually were to take, well, what's $215? Add that into, let's see, $215 plus $175,000. I'm just going to reverse engineer it. That's $390. Divide that into 700. So we got this at 55% of the ARV minus repairs, and we sold it, at $330 plus $175 equals $505. Divide that into 700. So we sold it for 72% of the ARV minus repairs. So we bought it for 55% of the ARV minus repairs and sold it for 72 cents of the ARV minus repairs. So obviously that was a killer deal. And the reason why we got the seller to say yes was, again, by the law of reciprocity. If you look at our terms again, Mr. Seller, if we were to pay all cash, pay all closing costs, and close in 30 days or on the date of your choice, what's the best price you could do for us? And in this case, I think he said about $500,000 initially. And remember, he who says price first loses. So you want to get them to say their price first, and then you can start at your initial offer and then negotiate upwards from there. But you never want to say a price, because maybe he's going to say something that's much lower than what you were going to say initially. So leave yourself open for that. You always want to price test. So in this case, I think they started at 500, to which we countered back and we said, you know what, we're really going to need to be closer to 200. And then, of course, it starts the negotiations from there, where hopefully you're going to give take, and maybe meet up closer to your max rehab price as you work your way up from where he's at to where you're at, or use psychology to bring him down to your price. We can talk about that more later. Our investor came from actually a local realtor there, from a marketing blast that we did. The realtor had the buyer for us, and we paid him a commission on that. Realtors and other wholesalers, you can, offer to them, propose to them that if they can bring a buyer, they just need to add on to your price. And if that doesn't work out, because the buyer's just not willing, it has a certain price and he's not willing to go above that, then you can compensate them out of your purchase price, which in this case we did. So we used funding on this, 100%. We did a double closing. We used funding through a private lender. So that allowed us to close, take title, and then resell the property to our cash buyer. Normally we'd just do an assignment. Again, this was very early on for me, so I didn't do the assignment. I did the double closing because of the profit margin that I was fearful of exposing at the time, in fear of Again, getting my price cut down because, you know, I just didn't know how to justify it then, or how to keep it confidential and get my buyer committed and into place with a non-refundable deposit without exposing my price. So, which now, you know, I talk about now and how to do that. So we used funding, and because of the closing costs and the commissions we had to pay and the fees, you know, whittled our profit down to 89,000. You can see, man, that's a lot of money to have taken out of the deal, and that's why you want to do assignments whenever you can in wholesaling. So more on that later. I hope that was good for you. Very exciting to kind of revisit that deal for me. Definitely brings back memories, and statistically only 10% of YouTube videos are watched until the end. So if you're in that 10%, you're a hustler. You're persistent and determined to succeed, and I wish you much success. So thanks for watching. I look forward to working with you. This is Ryan Kirk. I'll catch you on the flip side.